Hey YouTube, this is Scott again with Stormcrow Survival, and today we're going to be reviewing the Maxpedition Fatty Pocket Organizer. Now, I use this for my everyday carry slash survival kit when I'm out in the woods. It's 5 inches in length, so it's this way, about 5.5, I'd say, if you really max it out. About 1.5 inches thick, so you can put quite a bit of stuff in it. 8 inches from top to bottom in height, and it can hold quite a bit of stuff. It's got YKK zippers with some paracord ties to make it a little bit easier to unzip. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the actual zipper pull except for the paracord, so if this were to somehow break for some reason, you'd kind of be up a creek. It has a field loop for a morale patch. It's got a pretty good mesh pocket, although so far when I've had this totally filled, the mesh pocket can't really hold anything, so I'm not sure how good that's going to be for most people. You could maybe put a small map or maybe a pen and notepad in it just to have it handy all the time, but anything much bigger than that or thicker than that, it's not really going to fit much. Now on the inside, you can see it's got a horizontal arrangement on the right and a more vertical setup on the left hand side. It's got 3 large elastic loops at the back. It's got 2 on each of the 3 bigger loops. It's got 2 of the smaller elastic band strips, probably good for something about the size of a pen. I can actually fit, I'll show you real quick, I can fit 6 of these little stakes in there in the little pocket. Pretty easy. There we go. So they can actually hold a pretty good sized object in there. Possibly even a small flashlight would do pretty well, although you might want to just use one of the bigger ones to make it a little bit easier to get out. It also has a small keeper on it. So you can put anything you want on it, really, a small knife, but works pretty good for keys. So it's got a little loop right here in case you want to try to attach any of your own equipment on perhaps a small keychain or carabiner. And then on the left side, it also has a fairly deep pocket. It is essentially the whole 5.5 inches by 8 inches. So it's pretty deep. I can actually fit an entire Survive Outdoors longer heavy-duty tarp in there, which is a pretty good-sized survival shelter if you should ever need it, and then hopefully you never will. It's got a large elastic band here in the middle that you could fit some pretty decent-sized things in there, a piece of fat wood. I actually have a hank of 50 feet worth of paracord that I usually slip right in there, and it fits pretty well. Easy to get in, easy to get out. And then on the right hand side, we have, I'll fold that over for you. We have 2 very large loops that could practically fit my whole hand underneath it. It's so large. So I haven't really found too much of a use for those just because they are so huge. And then on the front of each of those really big ones, there's 2 smaller, although still fairly wide, bands right there. I usually put, if I'm worried about getting caught out in the sun, like sunscreen, or especially with spring coming up and more rain getting everywhere. Up here in the mountains, we get a lot of mosquitoes and flies, some of which are pretty bitey. So to make sure I don't come out of the woods covered in bug bites, looking like I have the hives or something, I'll keep some bug spray in there. And then it's got a zippered pouch in the back. It's not very deep. Does, however, run the entire length. It's still pretty much the whole 5.5 by 8 inches. The problem that I have with it is that when you try to zip it up, if you put anything too bulky in there, it doesn't really like to zip all the way. Not that that's a huge deal, because you do, of course, have the whole zipper or the whole pouch itself that closes. But if you want to try to keep things from sliding around, it can get a little bit annoying. It's, of course, got a YKK zipper on the inside that works just fine. I usually try to keep like a small fire kit in there just because it keeps everything together. I don't have to worry about it falling out when I open my pack, getting on the ground. And on the very back, It's got some molly straps for attaching it to a backpack. Now, it usually attaches with something like these 3-inch tack ties. You can buy these from Maxpedition. I actually can't remember anymore if these came with my pack or if I had to order them separately, but they're pretty easy to use. Normally, you have to slip them through the center one on this, but you'd slip them through the first loop on the bag, then the center loop here, then the next loop on whatever bag you're trying to attach it to. Just fold it over, slides into there. This little tab here catches on it, and then you've got it attached. It's not going to come off at all, which is pretty nice. But all in all, a pretty good way to organize your stuff, especially your survival kit. If you ever found yourself out in the woods, maybe you got lost and your bag gets ripped or something, you can just take this, if you're wearing cargo pants especially, or if you have a carabiner, just attach it to your belt or toss it in your one of your cargo pockets, and you've pretty much got a full survival kit in here. Obviously, the only thing it can't really hold is like a hatchet or anything like that, so you'd maybe want to get one of those small hand saws, or possibly even a decent-sized 6-blade knife. I mean, that'll fit a pretty good one in there. You just won't be batoning very large pieces of wood, but if you have something like the heavy-duty tarp in it, you'll at least have shelter. You'll be able to make a fire, everything you'd need. I believe Dave Canterbury calls it the 5 C's of survival. Will fit in here. You can even get nowadays some metallic collapsible water bottles, or at least they're lined with a metallic substance that just rolls up, and you can fit those in here as well, and then you've got everything you could need. So like I said, all in all, a pretty good pack, especially for outdoor survival stuff. For those in a more urban environment, you can keep tools in here, you can keep chargers. There's plenty of videos. If you check out the Urban Prepper, he uses a couple of Maxpedition pocket organizers, and he's probably got a small computer repair lab inside some of his. So maybe check him out too if you're in a more urban environment. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back again sometime this week or next week with a video showing what I actually keep in the Maxpedition Fatty, along with actually going through some of the things you're going to want to make sure that every time you go into the woods, even if it's just for a short day hike, that you have with you. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and hope to all hear back from you in a couple of days. Thanks. Bye.